A king named Pratap Mukut used to rule over the Kashi. He had a son named Vajra Mukut. One day the prince went to the forest for hunting along with the finance minister's son because he is his best friend. While roaming around, he found a pond. Lotus were blooming in its water and swans were quacking. There were dense trees on the bank on which birds were chirping. Both the friends stopped there and after washing their hands and face in the water of pond, they went up to the temple of Mahadev. They tied the horses outside the temple. When he came out after the visiting the temple, he saw that the princess had came to the pond with her friends to take a bath. Divan's son remained sitting there under a tree, but the prince could not stop himself. He went ahead. When the princess looked at him, he became fascinated by her. The princess also kept on looking at him. Then what she did, she took out a lotus flower from the bun, put it to her ear, bite it with her teeth, press it under the foot, and then hug it to her chest, and went away with her friends. After her departure, the prince was disappointed and came to his friend and told him everything and said, I cannot live without this princess, but I neither know his name nor his whereabouts. How will she be found? The Divan's son said, Prince, don't be so nervous. She has told everything. The prince asked how. He said, when she took the lotus flower off her head and put it on her ear, she said that she is from Karnataka. When she gnawed the flower with her teeth, she said she is daughter of the Dantbat Raja. By pressing him with his foot, it means that her name is Padmavati. And by pressing him to his chest, she said that you have settled in her heart. Had to hear this, the prince was jubilant with joy, said, now take me to the country of Karnataka. Both friends move on. Wandering around, both of them reached there after several days. When he went near the king's palace, he found an old woman sitting at her door, spinning a charkha. Both of them went near her and got down from their horses and said, Mother, we are traders. Our stuff is following. Give us some space to live. Seeing their appearance and listening to them, the old lady felt a surge of affection. She said, Son, this is your house. Stay as long as you feel like. Both stay there. The Divan's son asked her, Mother, what do you do? Who is there in your house? How do you manage? The old woman replied, Son, I have a son who is in the king's service. I was the nanny for the king's daughter Padmavati. Now I stay at home due to the old age. The king gives food and drink. I go to the palace once a day to see the princess. The prince gave some money to the old lady and said, Mother, if you go there tomorrow, tell the princess that the prince you found at the pond on last week has arrived. The next day, when the old woman went to the palace, she gave her the prince's message. As soon as the princess heard this, she got angry and applied sandalwood on her hands and slapped her on his cheek and said, Get out of my house. The old lady came home and told everything to the prince. The prince was stunned. Then his friend said, Prince, don't be afraid. Understand his words. She hid 10 fingers in the white sandalwood. By this, she means that now there are 10 days of moonlight. I will meet you in the dark night after this passes. After 10 days, the old lady again informed the princess. This time she dipped 3 fingers in the saffron color and hid her on the face and said, "Run away from here." The old lady came and told everything. The prince quivered in sorrow. The Divan's son explained, "What is there to be surprised about?" She said, "I am menstruating. Wait 3 more days." After 3 days, the old woman reached there again. This time the princess rebuked him and threw him out of the west window. He came and told the prince. Hearing this, the Divan's son said, "Friend, she has called you to that window tonight." The prince jumped out of happiness. When the time came, she wore the old lady's dress, applied perfume, tied her weapons. After 2 o'clock in the night, he reached the palace and entered through the window. The princess was standing there, all set. She took him inside. After seeing the conditions of inside, Prince's eyes were open. There were many things, one after the other. The prince stayed with the princess the whole night. As soon as the day came, the princess hid the prince and took him out again when night fell. Like this many days passed. Suddenly one day the prince remembered his friend. He was worried that he didn't know what might have happened to him. Looking sad, the princess asked the reason, and he told, "I have a friend, and he is my very dear friend and very clever. It was only because of his intelligence that I was able to meet you." The princess said, "I prepare a wonderful meal for him. You feed him and console him and come back." Taking the food with him, the prince reached his friend. They haven't met in a month. When the prince met, he told him the whole story and said that, "I have told the princess all about your cleverness. That is why she prepared and sent this food." Divan's son started thinking. He said, "You did not do this well. Princess understand that as long as I am there, she cannot keep you under her control. That's why he has sent this food mixed with poison." Saying this, Divan's sons picked up a laddu from the plate and threw it in front of the dog. The dog died immediately after eating. The prince felt very bad. He said, "God save me from such a woman. I won't go near her any more." Divan's son said, "No, now we should find a solution by which we can take her home. Tonight you go there. When the princess fell asleep, mark a trident on her left thigh and bring her jewelry." Prince did exactly the same. When he arrived, Divan's son took him with himself, disguised himself as a yogi, sat in a crematorium, and told the prince to take these jewels and sell them in the market. "If anyone catches you, tell him to go to my preceptor and bring him here." The prince took the jewels to the city and showed them to the goldsmith near the palace. As soon as the goldsmith saw him, he recognized him and took him to the police station. When the officer asked, he said that his teacher had given these to him. Master was also couched. Everyone went in front of the king. The king asked, "Master, where did you get these jewels?" The son of the yogi turned Divan said, "Majesty, I was proving which mantra to Kali Chaudhary in crematorium, when witch came and I took off her jewelry and made a trident mark on her left thigh." Hearing this, the king went to the palace and told the queen to check whether there was a mark of the trident on the Padmavati's left thigh. When the queen saw it was there, the king felt very sad. Coming out, he took the yogi aside and said, "Maharaj, what is the punishment for the wrong woman in scriptures?" The master replied, "If a king, a Brahmin, A cow, a woman, a boy, or someone living under your care commits any wrongdoing, he should be exiled. Hearing this, the king put Padmavati in a palanquin and sent her into the forest. The prince and the Divan's sons were just waiting. Finding the princess alone, he returned to his city with her and started living happily. After saying this much, Ghost Betal said to king, "Tell me who has committed the sin." King Vikram said. The king felt guilty. The Divan's son did the work of his master. The officer obeyed the king, and the prince fulfilled his wish. The king committed a sin by banishing her without thinking. As soon as the king Vikram said this to Betal Ghost, Betal again hanged himself on the same tree from where Vikram couched him. The king went back and set off Betal on his shoulder, and Betal Ghost said, "King, listen, I will tell you one more story."
If you like our video of Vikram Betal, so please like us video and subscribe the Brain Boost channel. Thank you.